Kate Morrison stood on the bridge of the New Horizon, watching the alien ships fill her screen. She had been Earth's top diplomat for 12 years, but nothing had prepared her for this moment. The massive vessels hung in space like dark metal, mountains, each one bigger than any human ship ever built. "Ambassador, they're sending another message," said her communications officer, Lieutenant Dave Baker. His voice was steady, but Kate could see the fear in his eyes. The main screen flickered, and the face of War Prime Kethvar appeared. The alien looked like a cross between a lizard and a bird, with golden scales and bright orange eyes that never blinked. When he spoke, his voice came through the translator as cold and mechanical. "Humans of Earth," Kethvar began, "you have received our terms. Your species will leave all worlds beyond your home system. You will serve the Zephyrian Alliance as tribute providers. You have 72 hours to agree, or we will destroy every human settlement in the galaxy." The screen went dark. Kate stared at the blank display, feeling the weight of 6 billion human lives pressing down on her shoulders. Behind her, Commander Alex Stone shifted in his chair. The military officer had been quiet during the entire negotiation, but now he leaned forward. "Ma'am, they have over 3,000 ships out there," Alex said quietly. "Our entire defense fleet has maybe 200 vessels." Kate nodded. She had run the numbers herself. The Zephyrian Alliance was made up of 12 different alien species, all more advanced than humans. Their technology was centuries ahead of Earth's. Their ships could cross the galaxy in weeks while human vessels took months. Their weapons could punch through human armor like paper. "Get me Admiral Parker," Kate ordered. The communication took several minutes to establish. Admiral Lisa Parker appeared on the screen from Luna Station, her gray hair pulled back in a tight bun. She looked tired, but her eyes were sharp and alert. "I've been watching the alien fleet," Lisa said before Kate could speak. "They're positioning themselves around our outer defenses, classic encirclement pattern." "What are our chances?" Kate asked. Lisa was quiet for a long moment. "Against this many ships? With their technology?" "Kate, we're looking at complete annihilation if we fight." Kate felt her heart sink. "So we surrender?" "I'm sending a coded message to Earth Command," Lisa replied. "President Webb needs to hear this directly from both of us." The trip back to Earth took 18 hours. Kate spent most of it staring out at the stars, wondering if this was the end of human space exploration. When they finally reached Earth, she was escorted directly to the underground bunker that served as the emergency government center. President Charles Webb looked older than his 60 years. The stress of leading humanity through its first major alien contact had aged him quickly. He sat at the head of a long table surrounded by military officers and government officials. "Sit down, Kate," Charles said softly. "We've been discussing our options." General Ryan Clark, the head of Strategic Command, was speaking when Kate entered. He was a tall man with graying hair and cold blue eyes that missed nothing. "The aliens made a critical error in their intelligence," Ryan was saying. "They've been watching us for months, maybe years, but they only saw what we wanted them to see." Kate felt confused. "What do you mean?" Ryan smiled, but it wasn't a pleasant expression. "Kate, what do you know about human military history?" "The basics, I suppose. We've had wars throughout our history." "More than wars," Ryan continued. "We've perfected the art of killing. Every human child learns about famous battles and great generals. We study tactics and strategy like other species study art or music." Defense Secretary Margaret Bell spoke up. "The aliens think we're a peaceful species that happened to develop space travel. They see our exploration ships and assume we're not a threat." "But that's true, isn't it?" Kate asked. "We are explorers. We do want peace." Ryan's smile grew wider. "Kate, humans have been at war with something for our entire history. If we weren't fighting other humans, we were fighting animals or disease or nature itself. War isn't something we do. War is what we are." Admiral Parker's voice came through the communication system. "The alien fleet is holding position. They seem confident that we'll surrender without a fight." President Webb stood up slowly. "Gentlemen, ladies, we've discussed this for hours. The vote was unanimous. He looked directly at Kate. "Send them our response." Kate felt her mouth go dry. "What response?" General Clark handed her a datapad. On it was a single sentence. "Since you chose war, we'll show you how it's done." "You can't be serious," Kate said. "They'll destroy us." "Maybe," Charles replied. "But humans don't surrender. We never have." Kate looked around the room at the faces of Earth's leaders. She saw determination, not fear. She saw the same look she had seen on the faces of human soldiers throughout history, the look of people who would rather die fighting than live as slaves. "I need to know," Kate said quietly. "Do we actually have a chance?" General Clark was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke in a voice so low that Kate had to strain to hear him. "Kate, the aliens think they know what humans are capable of. They've watched our merchant ships and exploration vessels. They've seen our defensive platforms around Earth and Mars." He paused, looking directly into her eyes. "They have no idea what we've been building in the dark spaces between the stars." Kate felt a chill run down her spine. "What do you mean?" "Send the message, Kate," President Webb said firmly. "It's time the galaxy learned why humans survived when every other species on Earth went extinct." Kate took the datapad with shaking hands. She had never imagined that her career as a diplomat would end with delivering a declaration of war. But as she looked at the message again, she realized that maybe this wasn't an ending at all. Maybe it was the beginning of something the galaxy had never seen before. She opened the communication channel to the alien fleet and began to transmit humanity's final message. War Prime Kethvar watched the human response with amusement. The message was so simple it seemed childish. "Since you chose war, we'll show you how it's done." He clicked his beak in what passed for laughter among his species. "Commander Veltar, begin the assault," he ordered. "Target their orbital platforms first. Make it quick and clean." The Zephyrian fleet moved forward like a wall of death. 3,000 ships, each armed with weapons that could crack a moon in half. Their energy shields glowed blue against the darkness of space. This would be over in hours, maybe less. Commander Veltar studied his tactical display. "War Prime. The humans have only 47 ships in defensive positions around their homeworld. Their weapons appear to be simple kinetic projectiles and basic energy beams." "Pathetic," Kethvar replied. "Begin firing." The first wave of alien ships opened fire on the human orbital stations. Bright beams of energy lanced through space, striking the metal platforms that surrounded Earth. Explosions bloomed like flowers, and debris scattered in all directions. Captain Nathan Brooks stood on the bridge of the Iron Will, watching his ship's armor buckle under alien fire. Around him, his crew worked frantically at their stations, trying to keep the engines running, and the weapons charged. "Captain, we've lost forward shields," called out his weapons officer, Lieutenant Jenny Mason. "Hull breach on decks 4 and 5. Nathan gripped his command chair as another blast rocked the ship. "Return fire. Target their lead cruiser. The Iron Will's main guns fired, sending streams of metal projectiles toward the alien vessels. The shots bounced harmlessly off the enemy shields. Nathan watched his tactical display as more human ships took damage. The USS Liberty was already listing badly. Her hull cracked open like an egg. It looked like a massacre. The alien weapons were cutting through human defenses like they were made of paper. Ship after ship disappeared in balls of fire. The orbital platforms around Earth crumbled under the relentless bombardment. War Prime Kethvar smiled as he watched the battle. "The humans fight bravely, but this is exactly what we expected. Their technology is centuries behind ours." "Commander," Veltar nodded. "Should we move to the second phase?" "Not yet. Let them exhaust themselves first. I want them to understand how hopeless this is." Deep beneath the surface of Earth, Colonel Sarah Hayes sat in a command center that didn't officially exist. The room was carved out of solid rock, 3 miles underground. Banks of computers lined the walls, and dozens of technicians worked at glowing screens. "Colonel, the surface battle is proceeding as planned," reported Major Tom Carter. "Captain Brooks is doing an excellent job making it look like we're losing badly," Sarah nodded, watching her own tactical display. This one showed a very different picture than what the aliens were seeing. Hidden throughout the solar system were weapons platforms that had been disguised as mining operations, research stations, and communication relays. "How long until the alien fleet is in position?" she asked. 15 minutes, ma'am. They're moving exactly where we predicted they would." Sarah smiled coldly. "Activate the stealth networks. It's time to show them what human engineering really looks like." In the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, what appeared to be a simple mining station suddenly changed. The outer shell fell away like a discarded coat, revealing a massive weapons platform bristling with guns. Similar transformations happened at a dozen other locations throughout the solar system. Dr. Elena Foster watched from her laboratory on Luna Station as her creations came online. For 20 years, she had been developing weapons that the aliens couldn't detect or understand. Now it was time to test them. "Initiating Phantom Protocol," she said into her communicator. "All stealth units are now active." The Phantom ships were Dr. Foster's greatest achievement. They were completely invisible to alien sensors using technology that bent light and energy around them like water around a stone. Each one was no bigger than a fighter craft, but they carried weapons designed specifically to kill alien vessels. Captain Brooks continued his performance on the bridge of the Iron Will. His ship was actually in no real danger. The damage was mostly cosmetic, created by controlled explosions that made it look like the alien weapons were devastating his vessel. "Captain," called Lieutenant Mason, "we're receiving the activation code." Nathan's expression changed from desperation to cold determination. "All stations prepare for Phase 2. Drop the act." Around the Iron Will, the other human ships received the same signal. What had appeared to be a desperate last stand was about to become something very different. The first sign that something was wrong came when 3 Zephyrian destroyers simply vanished from their formation. One moment they were there, the next they were gone. No explosion, no debris, just empty space. "Commander Veltar, what happened to Patrol Group 7? War Prime Kethvar demanded. "I don't know, sir. They just disappeared from our sensors." More ships began to vanish. The Phantom vessels moved through the alien fleet like invisible sharks, their weapons tearing through hull plating that had never been designed to withstand human engineering. "War Prime." Veltar's voice was tense now. "We're detecting some kind of stealth technology. The humans have ships we can't see." Kethvar felt the first stirring of doubt. "Impossible. Our intelligence reports showed no evidence of advanced stealth capability. Sir, the human defensive vessels are changing their behavior. The Iron Will just dropped its damaged sections. They were fake." On the bridge of the Iron Will, Captain Brooks smiled as his ship's true form emerged. The battered hull plates fell away, revealing pristine armor underneath. Weapon systems that had been hidden inside the ship's structure deployed from concealed compartments. "All weapons full power," Nathan ordered. "Target the alien flagship." The Iron Will's main cannon fired, but this time it wasn't shooting simple metal projectiles. The round that streaked toward the alien flagship was made of materials that didn't exist in nature, traveling at a significant fraction of light speed. The shot punched through the alien flagship's shields like they weren't there. It tore through the hull, venting atmosphere and debris into space. Emergency alarms began screaming throughout the alien fleet. "Impossible," War Prime Kethvar whispered as his ship shuddered under the impact. "How did they penetrate our shields?" All around him, his fleet was discovering that the humans they had dismissed as primitive possessed technology that made their own weapons seem like toys. The hidden platforms throughout the solar system opened fire simultaneously, their beams reaching across millions of miles to find their targets. Colonel Sarah Hayes watched the battle turn from her underground command center. "Phase 2 complete. Begin Phase 3. "What's Phase 3? Asked Major Carter. Sarah's smile was sharp as a blade. "We show them that humans don't just fight to win. We fight to make sure our enemies never threaten us again." The real battle was just beginning. Admiral Lisa Parker sat in her command chair on Luna Station, watching the battle unfold exactly as her staff had planned. The alien fleet was falling apart, but this was only the beginning. She pressed a button on her console and spoke into her communicator. "All units, this is Admiral Parker. Execute Operation Endgame. Across the solar system, things that had looked like ordinary asteroids began to move. They weren't asteroids at all. They were massive battle stations that had been hidden in the asteroid belt for over a decade. Each one was the size of a small moon, and packed with enough firepower to destroy an entire fleet. Colonel Marcus Webb led the first wave of human assault ships as they emerged from their hiding places. His squadron had been waiting behind Jupiter's moons, invisible to alien sensors. The ships looked nothing like the vessels the aliens had been fighting. These were sleek, deadly, and built for one purpose: to kill. Wolfpack 1 to all units. Marcus spoke into his radio. Target the alien. Supply ships first. Cut off their fuel and ammunition. The human ships moved through space like hunting animals. They didn't charge straight at the enemy like the aliens expected. Instead, they used hit-and-run tactics, striking fast and disappearing before the aliens could respond. War Prime Kethvar watched his fleet crumble around him. Half of his ships were already destroyed or damaged beyond repair. The humans were using weapons he had never seen before, tactics that made no sense according to everything he knew about warfare. Commander Veltar, order all ships to fall back to defensive positions, he commanded. Sir, we can't. The humans have destroyed our supply vessels. We don't have enough fuel for a full retreat. Kethvar felt panic rising in his chest. How is that possible? Our supply ships were protected by our best escorts. The answer came from Commander Rachel Stone, who was coordinating the human attack from her position on the Iron Will. She had studied every piece of intelligence about alien warfare tactics for months. The aliens fought with honor and predictable patterns. They protected their important ships with their strongest vessels. Humans didn't care about honor. They cared about winning. Target their command ships next, Rachel ordered. Take out their ability to coordinate. The phantom ships that Dr. Foster had created struck again and again. They appeared out of nowhere, fired devastating weapons, and vanished before the aliens could track them. Each attack was planned to cause maximum damage with minimum risk to human forces. Captain Nathan Brooks commanded a boarding party that attacked a disabled alien cruiser. The humans moved through the ship's corridors like they had been born for this kind of fighting. The aliens had abandoned close combat centuries ago, preferring to fight their wars from a distance. Big mistake. Clear the engine room, Nathan ordered as his team advanced through the alien ship. We need those power cores intact. The alien crew tried to resist, but they had no experience with hand-to-hand combat. The humans moved like predators, using every advantage of their environment. They knew exactly where to hit, where to take, cover, and how to strike without warning. Within an hour, the entire alien cruiser was under human control. More importantly, the humans now had access to alien technology and computer systems. Dr. Elena Foster studied the captured alien data from her laboratory. What she found made her smile. The aliens had never developed proper computer security because they had never needed it. Their own species were too honorable to hack each other's systems. Colonel Hayes, she called into her communicator. I'm uploading a virus to the alien fleet. It will turn their own weapons against them. Sarah Hayes received the data in her underground command center. How long until you can activate it? It's already active. Watch your screens. Throughout the alien fleet, computer systems began to malfunction. Weapon targeting systems started firing on their own ships. Navigation computers sent vessels crashing into each other. Communication systems broadcast human messages instead of alien orders. The virus spread through the alien network like wildfire. Every ship that tried to help an infected vessel became infected itself. Within minutes, the entire Zephyrian fleet was fighting itself. War Prime Kethvar screamed orders that no one could hear. His communication system was broadcasting human music instead of his commands. His weapons were firing at his own escorts. His engines were pushing his ship toward a collision with another alien vessel. How are they doing this, he demanded, but his crew had no answers. The truth was simple. Humans had been fighting wars for thousands of years. They had learned that the best way to defeat an enemy was to make them defeat themselves. Every human military academy taught lessons about psychological warfare, deception, and the importance of knowing your enemy's weaknesses. Colonel Marcus Webb watched the alien fleet tear itself apart and felt no satisfaction. This wasn't a victory. This was a demonstration. The galaxy needed to understand what happened when someone declared war on humanity. All units, begin the final phase, he ordered. Capture any ships that surrender. Destroy any that resist. The surviving alien vessels found themselves surrounded by human forces that seemed to appear from nowhere. The humans had been planning this battle for years, studying every possible move the aliens might make. Admiral Parker opened a communication channel to the remaining alien ships. This is Admiral Lisa Parker of the Human Defense Force. You are defeated. Surrender now and you will be treated according to the laws of war. Continue fighting and you will be destroyed. War Prime Kethvar looked at his tactical display. Out of 3,000 ships, fewer than 200 were still operational. His mighty fleet had been reduced to scrap metal and debris in less than 6 hours. How? He whispered. How did a primitive species defeat us so completely? Commander, Rachel Stone answered him from the Iron Will. You made the mistake of thinking we were primitive. You confused our peaceful nature with weakness. You forgot that humans are the species that conquered an entire planet full of predators. The alien. Commander stared at the human face on his screen. What are you? Rachel smiled, but it wasn't a pleasant expression. We're the species that has been at war with something for our entire existence. We're the species that turned warfare into an art form. We're the species that learned to hunt in packs and never forgot how. She paused, letting her words sink. So you wanted to see how humans fight a war. Now you know. The remaining alien ships began to surrender one by one. The Great Zephyrian Alliance, which had conquered dozens of star systems, had been defeated by a species they thought was barely capable of space travel. But the humans weren't finished yet. They had sent a message to the aliens, but they needed to send a message to the entire galaxy. The real demonstration was just beginning. General Ryan Clark stood in the war room deep beneath Earth, studying the holographic display that showed the entire galaxy. Red dots marked Zephyrian worlds. Blue dots showed human positions. What the aliens didn't know was that there were far more blue dots than anyone had imagined. Sir, we're receiving confirmation from all sectors, reported Captain Linda Gray. Operation Ghost Network is complete. Ryan nodded grimly. For 15 years, every human merchant ship, every exploration vessel, every diplomatic mission had been gathering intelligence. They had mapped alien supply routes, identified key military installations, and planted human agents throughout Zephyrian space. Begin Phase 4, Ryan ordered. Show them that defeating their fleet was just the beginning. Across the galaxy, human sleeper agents activated. Commander Jake Foster had been posing as a maintenance worker on the Zephyrian fuel depot at Kepler, stationed for 3 years. When he received his activation code, he smiled and began his real work. The explosion that destroyed Kepler Station could be seen from 3 star systems away. The fuel depot had supplied the entire Zephyrian Second Fleet. Without it, hundreds of ships would be stranded in space with no way to return home. Similar explosions occurred throughout Zephyrian space. Supply depots, communication relays, and shipyards suffered mysterious accidents. Key military leaders vanished without a trace. Transport ships carrying reinforcements never reached their destinations. Admiral Lisa Parker coordinated the attacks from her command center on Luna Station. Each strike was carefully planned to cripple the aliens' ability to fight future wars. This wasn't just about winning one battle. This was about making sure the Zephyrian Alliance could never threaten humanity again. Ma'am, we're getting reports from Sector 7, called Lieutenant Mike Torres. The alien reinforcement fleet is reporting mechanical failures across their entire formation. Lisa smiled coldly. What kind of mechanical failures? Their engines are shutting down randomly. Their weapon systems are firing on their own ships. Their navigation computers are sending them toward asteroid fields instead of Earth. The truth was that Dr. Elena Foster's computer virus had been spreading through alien networks for months, before the war even began. Every time an alien ship docked at a station, every time they communicated with their homeworlds, the virus spread a little further. Now it was activating everywhere at once. War Prime Kethvar sat in a human detention cell watching reports come in from across the galaxy. His empire was falling apart, not from military defeat but from complete system failure. Nothing worked anymore. Ships couldn't fly. Weapons couldn't fire. Communications were down. "How long have you been planning this?" he asked Captain Nathan Brooks, who was serving as his interrogator. Nathan sat across from the alien commander, his expression calm and professional. "We started planning the day we made first contact with your species. Every human who visited your worlds was gathering information. Every trade agreement included intelligence-gathering operations." Kethvar felt a chill run through his scaled body. "That's impossible. We would have detected such widespread espionage." "You assumed we thought like you," Nathan replied. "You assumed we would gather information in ways that made sense to your culture, but humans have been perfecting the art of deception for thousands of years." He leaned forward, his eyes cold as winter. "Every janitor in your buildings, every cook in your cafeterias, every repair technician who fixed your equipment was potentially a human agent. We learned your languages, studied your customs, and became invisible in your society." Dr. Elena Foster worked in her laboratory, putting the finishing touches on humanity's most terrifying weapons. These weren't designed to kill quickly. They were designed to make resistance impossible. The nanobots were her masterpiece, microscopic machines that could rewrite alien DNA, making them unable to feel aggression toward humans. The psychological warfare programs could break enemy morale before battles even began. The economic viruses could crash alien financial systems with a single command. "Colonel Hayes," she called into her communicator, "the final protocols are ready for deployment." Sarah Hayes reviewed the data from her command center. The weapons Dr. Foster had created were more terrifying than anything humans had ever built. They weren't just tools of war. They were tools of permanent control. "Are you sure about this, Doctor?" Sarah asked. "Once we deploy these weapons, there's no going back. The galaxy will never be the same." "The galaxy declared war on us," Elena replied. "They chose to threaten our children, our homes, our future. Now they get to live with the consequences." The nanobots were released into the Zephyrian water supply. The psychological warfare programs began broadcasting on all alien communication frequencies. The economic viruses crashed the stock markets of every world in the Alliance. Within days, alien society began to collapse. Not from bombs or bullets, but from the complete breakdown of everything that held their civilization together. President Charles Webb addressed the Galactic Council from his office in Washington. The other alien species watched in horror as he explained what had happened to the Zephyrian Alliance. "This is what happens when someone declares war on humanity," Charles said calmly. "We don't just defend ourselves. We make sure the threat can never rise again." The council members shifted nervously in their seats. Some of them had been considering their own attacks on human space. Those thoughts died quickly as they watched the reports from Zephyrian worlds. "Are you threatening us?" asked Ambassador Tixfall of the Andromedan Republic. Charles smiled pleasantly. "I'm explaining reality. Humanity wants peace. We prefer trade and exploration to warfare. But if you force us to fight, we will show you the same efficiency we show in everything else we do." He gestured to the display showing the former Zephyrian territories. They thought they were fighting a primitive species. They learned that humans are the ultimate predators from a world where only the strongest survived. The message was spreading throughout the galaxy. Dozens of alien species were reconsidering their expansion plans. The humans had demonstrated something that terrified every military strategist in known space. They had shown that warfare, like any other human endeavor, could be perfected through study, practice, and absolute dedication to excellence. War Prime. Kethvar received one final visit from Captain Brooks before being transferred to a prison world. "I have to ask," the alien commander said, "was any of it real? Your peaceful exploration? Your desire for friendship?" Nathan considered the question carefully. All of it was real. We genuinely want peace. We honestly prefer exploration to conquest. But you made the mistake of thinking that meant we were weak. He stood to leave, then paused at the door. Humans spent 1,000,000 years learning to be the most efficient killers our planet ever produced. We conquered a world full of predators, survived ice ages and plagues and natural disasters that would have destroyed any other species. He looked back at the defeated alien. Did you really think we would be easy prey? The door closed with a soft click, leaving Kethavar alone with the knowledge that his species had awakened something that should have been left sleeping. The galaxy would never make that mistake again. 6 months after the war ended, Ambassador Kate Morrison walked through the corridors of New Geneva Station, the new capital of human space. The station orbited what used to be the Zephyrian homeworld. Now it was simply another world under human protection. She paused at a viewing window to watch the construction ships building new orbital platforms. Human and alien workers labored side by side, creating something better than what had existed before. The war was over, but the real work was just beginning. Ambassador Morrison, called a familiar voice. Kate turned to see former War Prime Kethavar approaching. He wore simple civilian clothes now instead of his military uniform. His scales had lost their golden shine and his orange eyes looked tired. Kethavar, Kate replied politely. How are you adjusting to your new position? The former alien commander managed a weak smile. Advisory positions are quite different from command positions, but I am learning much about human organization methods. They walked together toward the central conference room where the new Galactic Assembly was meeting. Representatives from 47 different species had come to discuss trade agreements, territorial boundaries, and mutual defense pacts, all under human oversight. Admiral Lisa Parker stood at the head of the assembly, explaining the new security arrangements. Her hair was still gray, but she looked younger somehow. Victory had given her a confidence that peace negotiations never could. The human colonial authority will maintain peacekeeping forces in all former conflict zones, she announced. To the gathered aliens, our ships will patrol trade routes to ensure safe passage for all species. A representative from the Centauri Federation raised a tentacled arm. Admiral Parker, what guarantees do we have that human forces won't become oppressive? Lisa smiled, calmly. The same guarantee you had before. Human behavior is consistent. We prefer peace and prosperity to warfare and destruction, but we maintain the ability to respond to any threat with appropriate force. The alien representatives shifted nervously. They all knew what appropriate force meant when humans used the phrase. General Ryan Clark observed the proceedings from a balcony overlooking the assembly hall. Beside him stood Dr. Elena Foster, who had been promoted to head of the new Galactic Research Initiative. They're still afraid of us, Elena commented. Ryan nodded. Good. Fear keeps them honest. But watch how they interact with our civilian administrators. They're already learning that human rule means efficiency, fairness, and opportunity. It was true. The former Zephyrian worlds were more prosperous now than they had ever been under alien rule. Human administrators had eliminated corruption, streamlined trade processes, and introduced new technologies that improved life for everyone. Captain Nathan Brooks commanded the exploration vessel New Dawn as it approached an uncharted star system. His crew was half human and half alien, working together to map new worlds and search for signs of life. Captain, called his science officer, a Zephyrian named Velnara. We're detecting artificial structures in the fourth planet's orbit. Nathan studied the sensor readings. Unknown species? It appears so, sir. Should we investigate? Nathan smiled. This was what he had joined the space service for originally. Discovery and exploration, not warfare. Take us in slowly. Full diplomatic protocols. Lieutenant Jenny Mason, now his first officer, coordinated the approach. Sir, they're sending a transmission. It appears to be a greeting. The main screen showed a new species of aliens. They looked like tall, thin plants with multiple arms and large, dark eyes. Their spokesman spoke in a musical voice that the translator rendered as curious but cautious. Greetings, unknown vessels. We are the Botanical Collective. We mean no harm and seek only peaceful contact. Nathan stood up, straightening his uniform. This is Captain Nathan Brooks of the Human Exploration Service. We also come in peace. We represent the Galactic Assembly and would like to establish diplomatic relations. The plant-like alien seemed to relax. We have heard stories about your species, Captain Brooks. Stories about a great war and a species that showed mercy to their defeated enemies. The stories are true, Nathan replied. Humans fight when we must, but we prefer to build rather than destroy. As the new dawn established orbit around the alien world, Nathan reflected on how much had changed. The galaxy was safer now. Trade flowed freely between worlds. Conflicts were resolved through negotiation rather than warfare, but everyone remembered the lesson humanity had taught. President Charles Webb stood before the assembled leaders of Earth, delivering his annual address. The war felt like ancient history now, but its effects continued to shape galactic politics. Human space now encompasses over 300 star systems, he announced. Our exploration fleets have made contact with 16 new species. All have chosen to join the Galactic Assembly rather than risk the alternative. The audience laughed at that. Everyone knew what the alternative was. But I want to emphasize, Charles continued, that human expansion is not conquest. It is protection. We offer other species something they have never had before. Absolute security from external threats. In the audience, Kate Morrison nodded approvingly. The president was right. Humanity had become the galaxy's guardian, not its conqueror. But everyone understood that the protection came with conditions. No species could threaten human interests. No world could harbor pirates or raiders. No government could oppress its people without consequences. Dr. Elena Foster worked in her new laboratory on Luna Station, developing technologies that would benefit all species in the galaxy. Medical advances that could cure diseases that had plagued aliens for centuries. Transportation systems that could move goods across vast distances in days instead of months. But she also maintained humanity's military edge. New weapons, new defenses, new strategies. The galaxy was peaceful now, but Elena knew that peace was only temporary. Someday, someone would challenge human authority again. When that day came, humanity would be ready. The former War Prime Kethvar sat in his small office, writing reports for his human supervisors. His job was to help them understand alien psychology and culture. It was honest work, and he was treated with respect. But late at night, when he was alone with his thoughts, he remembered the moment when he realized what humans truly were. Not peaceful explorers who had stumbled into space technology. Not a primitive species lucky enough to develop faster than light travel. They were predators. The ultimate predators from a world that had taught them to be perfect killers. The galaxy had learned that lesson the hard way. Some species, like his own, had been destroyed in the learning. Others had been smart enough to submit before the humans showed them what real warfare looked like. Kethavar finished his report and sent it to his human supervisor. Tomorrow he would help plan trade routes and cultural exchanges. He would contribute to the peace and prosperity that human rule had brought to the galaxy. But he would never forget the message that humanity had sent to the stars. Since you chose war, we'll show you how it's done. The galaxy remembered. And the galaxy was better for it. Captain Nathan Brooks stood on the bridge of the new dawn watching the stars wheel slowly past. His mixed crew worked efficiently around him, humans and aliens united in the common goal of exploration and discovery. This was what humanity had always wanted. Not conquest, not domination, but the freedom to explore the universe and build something better than what came before. They had achieved that goal by demonstrating their mastery of the one thing that every species in the galaxy understood, the ancient art of war. Now they could focus on the things that truly mattered. Art and science, exploration and discovery, building civilizations that would last for thousands of years. The final message from Human Command had been delivered. The galaxy had received it, understood it, and accepted it. Peace would endure because everyone knew the cost of breaking it.